والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم وقل رب زدني علما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فلما حس عيسى منهم الكفر قال من أنصاري إلى الله قال الحواريون نحن أنصار الله آمنا بالله واشهد بأننا مسلمون ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So, continuing with the narrative of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, and after the mention of his miraculous birth and explaining his role in humanity, inviting people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, presenting the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, substantiating his prophethood, and then now actually there's a sort of a fast forward now, because this was previously, the previous ayats were the exclamation or the proclamation to Sayyidah Maryam alayhi salam concerning the child which is to be born, and now فَلَمَّا أَحَسَّ عِيسَى مِنْهُمُ الْكُفْرَ, and now when Isa has alayhi salam has now actually reached the stage in life where he's actually ordered to carry out the mission of prophethood, and he's inviting towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, as we mentioned earlier, he was sent to Bani Israel, and the last of the prophets sent to Bani Israel, and as was their wont, much of them, if not most of them, denied him. Because obviously they saw in him a threat. This is always the case. You know, the same with Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and all the prophets who came. They posed a threat to those who were having power. So many of Bani Israel at that time were well placed in society, they were well placed economically, they were well placed, they had proximity with the rulers, and so now this was, acceptance of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was, as they perceived, would put their position in jeopardy, and this is usually the case, and bottom line of all of that is love of the world and the things of the world. So as a result, they disbelieve, they knowing full well that he is actually telling the truth, and he is actually calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the overpowering of the lower desires over the upper ascendance towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the lower desires overpowering, so they went against Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam to their own detriment. So at this juncture, when Isa alayhi salam ahassa Isa minhum al-kufr, now when he's realizing and he's really feeling and he's sensing that now these people are not going to believe, and they are not only disbelieving, but they are usually perpetrating hostilities at this point. And they were, as we're going to see later on, in fact, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهِ, and in fact they were conniving and plotting, to get rid of him. And they had previously killed prophets previously. So now, at this point, he had been carrying on this mission with his total dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by himself. And a few of the people have gathered around him, and perhaps a very small handful of individuals, perhaps 12 core companions of his, which we're going to mention later on. So at this point, when he sees that there is a need for the supporting of the mission of Dawat, so he says, "Man ansari ilallah," who are my helpers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to help me, and in helping me, you'll be helping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In yansurkum Allah, fala ghaliba lakum. And if Allah helps you, there will be no one to overpower you. In tansurullahi yansurkum. And so if we help Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will help us. So this is what he is mentioning. And this is consistent with the prophets who came before. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, when he realized he's being overpowered, inni maghlubun fantasir. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him, because he's being overpowered. Similarly, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam asked for the help of his brother. Harun to help him in that mission for the sake of, carrying on, more effectively the work of Dawat. So here, again, similarly, Isa alayhi salam calls to his companions to be his helpers in the path of Dawat ila Allah tabarak wa ta'ala and establishing the deen. قال الحواريون نحن أنصار الله. The Hawariyun, this is basically, it means the companions. Whether this is taken from a foreign word or this is an adaptation of the Arabic root, probably it is adaptation of the original word, which means something like the companions or the helpers of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. It also connotes whiteness in the Arabic language, Hawari. So that would also indicate the pureness of their hearts and the pureness of their actions. And of course that's also true, but most importantly, they were the companions and the helpers. Similarly, Nabi alayhi salatu said, لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ حَوَارِي أَوْ حَوَارِي الزُّبَيْرِ. During the time of Uhud, when Sayyidina Zubair came to the rescue of Rasul alayhi salatu and protected him. So he also called him a Hawari, in other words, his helper, his supporter. So the Hawariyun, and as I mentioned, there were perhaps 12 main companions and others who also followed along with them. They said, Amanna billahi, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, washhad, and give witness, O Isa alayhi salam, bi anna muslimun, that verily we are what? Muslimun, we are submitters. And this is as we've seen through Baqarah and also through Ali Imran, all of the prophets and their followers said we are Muslims, we are submitters, surrenders to the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His will. Amanna billahi washhad, and bear witness, O Isa alayhi salam. Bi anna muslimun, bear witness. So first of all, they're calling Isa alayhi salam to witness that they have accepted his da'wat and they have surrendered to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Muslims, and thereafter they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly and say, Rabbana amanna bima anzalt, O our Rabb, O our Lord, we believe in what you have sent to us. Wa taba'na al-Rasul, and we have followed the Rasul, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Faktubna ma'ashahidin. So record us, write us down in the register of those who have borne witness to your wahdaniyat, to your oneness, and to your prophets, and all that is required from us to believe in. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among them as well. Ameen thumma ameen. Akhir da'wana. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.